Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode. This is David Kim. Hey, Sonny. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm fine, David. Thank you for having me on the call today.
I understand you were born and raised in India, but now in Africa. How did you end up living and working in Nigeria, leading one of the fast-growing startups in Africa, Car45 as a CEO?
So my journey to Africa was very interesting. I used to work for KPMG in India, and we were supporting a client of KPMG in Lagos. They were a cinema and food and entertainment company called Genesis. So I worked on the project as a resource from India, and the client liked the work we did. So they asked us to come over for a longer stint. That's how I came to Nigeria in 2015 as the head of cinemas and food company. I spent 3.5 years working in that company, which was very exciting because it gave me a clear sense on customer behavior and consumer in Nigeria. Also, a large part of Africa because that job allowed me to travel to some parts of Africa. And after that stint was over, I saw the opportunity that Africa had from a long-term perspective, the next 12 to 15 years. So I quit that job and I stayed involved in a lot of small consulting assignments, mostly for private equity and venture investors. One of those assignments was with Cars45. At that point, Cars45 was fully owned by Frontier Car Group, and the management was trying to change the business model to make it more tech-friendly and asset-light. So that's how my association with Cars45 began in about, I would say, May, June of 2019.
You are living and working in Africa and managing the most successful, fast-growing the startup company in Africa as a CEO. So I can imagine you may have a very different perspective than the African local people or the foreign investor, maybe more balanced than others. So can you share with us your perspective and opinion about the African potential, market potential, as compared to the common and popular narrative of long-term potential of Africa?
Yes, I describe Africa's potential not just in the long term, but also in the immediate short term. My view of Africa is that there are pockets of Africa or sectors of Africa that are as well developed as the West, or at least as well developed as India. And I'm talking specifically of, let's say, fintech or telecom, fast moving consumer goods, where our price points may be lower, but the digital infrastructure and the food supply is well established. The consumer end is also well developed. Within a 200 million market in Nigeria, for example, there are at least 20 million people that could be consumers, middle class plus consumers in any part of the world. Same applies for pockets in Kenya, Egypt, Rwanda, South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire. So I can name quite a few countries where parts of that country behave as well developed as the Western markets. So some of the immediate opportunities are now. Long-term opportunities, which everyone talks about, I think, is in sort of the heavy manufacturing or large-scale industrial projects. Unfortunately, Africa is still behind, though they have the minerals and the resources to get there much faster.
Let's talk about the business of Car45. What is the problem in selling and buying the used car in Nigeria or in Africa? Car45 have addressed and is addressing now.
So we're trying to address the issues around transparency of condition and fair pricing. We are also trying to address the issue of customer experience during the used car transaction. Obviously, because it's a market which is quite behind other parts, used car transactions is still very fragmented with maybe thousands and millions of players in the market today. We are hoping that with the use of technology and transparency, we'll be able to improve the experience of the buyer going forward. We are also trying to help dealers and consumers find liquidity in the market by making the velocity of the transactions much quicker and faster. So that in a nutshell is what Cars45 has started out to do. I would say we have succeeded to some extent, but a long way needs to be covered. And we're learning every day as we move forward.
Okay, can you please tell us about how Car45 business model works and what are the major features of the app and services you are offering? Can you walk me through the step by step?
All right. So our journey begins with a booking where a seller, usually a individual customer, wants to liquidate his used vehicle. We make a booking for him to come into any of our centers where we do a 212-point inspection of his car. That gives him the fair condition of the car as well as an indicative value. Based on that inspection report, the prospective seller may decide whether he wants to put the car on auction or not. If he decides to put the car on auction, we have our franchise dealers, which is about 75 today. They bid on that car. There's a minimum expectation set by the seller. If that minimum expectation is reached during the auction, we declare one of the dealers a winner. The money for that is debited from the dealer's wallet, and the car is now moved to the dealer. In the event that the auction does not fetch the minimum expectation of the seller, or for some reason the sale is not made, the car is then put on our marketplace. Marketplace is literally a website or a technology platform where we have over 4,000 units listed, where dealers or individuals or anybody can actually see the car, see the inspection report, and make an offer for the car. Our team actually helps negotiate the sale between the buyer and the seller. So that's the value addition that we bring, in addition to what any classifieds website does. We also have 3 or 4 other services that are useful. One is for enterprise clients, where we do fleet liquidation and supply of new and used cars. We are also developing consumer products, which is for financing of cars for end users as well as for dealers to do their trades. We have an aftermarket service business where we have a network of, currently only in Lagos, a network of 20 workshops where we refer clients to the workshops and control their quality and service jobs. Finally, we have an import service. As you may know, Africa is almost a 90% plus used car import market. So we help individuals and dealers facilitate the entire import and buying process of cars coming into the country. So that's in a nutshell what we do. It's quite a lot to say, but right now we're also evolving very fast into what really is our core area. But it's all driven by technology and automation. So that is a common theme across all the services that we provide.
Is Car45 providing escrow account services between the seller and buyer?
No, not yet. But we do have some sort of escrow account of our dealers where their money is held in our system, which is debited immediately he makes a successful sale for a car on the auction platform.
I heard that the flourishing black market of import cars in Africa. So what is the situation? I mean, can you tell me about the situation of the black market and what are the challenges to second-hand car player like a Car45 because of that?
I would say smuggling channel that is used by people who want to evade customs duties. So they try to either undervalue the car or not state the correct condition, or they bring it in through land borders which are not as well guarded. So there is a market such as that. In my discussions with government authorities, we believe that that market would be in the range of 200 to 220,000 units per year in Nigeria, and about 700,000 across Africa. Of course, it's a revenue loss for the government, but also creates cars that could be used for illegal and other transactions. So we don't obviously support that. And often we see cars of that type that come through our system, and then we are obligated to alert the authorities for that. But quite honestly, it is the truth of the market that there is close to, if I was to guess, maybe 15 to 18% of a gray market in this used car business.
Let's talk about the financing, vendor financing. You talk about the vendor financing. You are providing the vendor financing services for the trading of a second-hand car that are made on your platform. So, can you tell us a little bit about the vendor financing you are offering to your client, working together with the other financial lenders?
Right now, it's still in pilot stage. So I think we're doing about only 10% of our trades are going through financing. But that is something we hope to ramp up very quickly now. In terms of value, each of those trades, ticket size of the loan is about $10,000.
I assume that the vendor financing is the biggest enabler to grow the business, sales of a product and equipment asset. So I think that's a very, very important factor to grow the business. But what is the biggest challenge? You haven't introduced the fully and then fully utilize, take advantage of vendor financing, grow your business.
It is a lack of credit data for the borrower. In most cases, the borrowers are small businessmen who don't have a very strong credit track record. And even if they do, it's not captured in the formal system. So that has become the challenge really for banks to lend more aggressively to them.
Can you explain, tell us a little bit about how Car45 has grown since the establishment in terms of sales and number of transaction, and you have closed so far or every year? I mean, any number you can share with us.
So, I mean, for me to share that information would be company confidential. But we have grown over 100% year on year between 2017, 18, and 19.
Did you say 100% of 100% year on year? That's very impressive, unbelievable.
2020 was a little tough for us because of obviously the pandemic that affected the world, as well as the fact that Nigeria itself had some civil unrest in the month of October. But notwithstanding, I think we will end up close to 70% of 2019 numbers in 2020. But the good part is that we have changed our business model to be completely asset light. We don't hold any inventory, nor do we trade for cash. So our working capital requirements are literally zero. And our gross margin has been almost double of what we did last year. So it's a smaller but profitable business. And the trades are now moving to a cashless inventory model.
What about the local brand, local auto brand in Nigeria or in Africa? And how about the competitive landscape?
Yes, there, there are two. There is obviously a very strong player called Innoson, INNOSON, who has been doing well in producing minivans, buses, and some SUVs. I think they've made some good progress. There is also the revival of the former Peugeot facility, which is now assembling some international brands, but also working on building their own. So there has been a move towards localization as well as local production. This is in addition to some of the CKD, SKD assemblers of some Chinese automobile brands, as well as Hyundai and Kia, which, though the numbers are down, but at least there is some serious investment that has gone in. So we should be able to see the benefits of that this year and next year onwards.
I got you. And can you tell us a little bit more about the local brand? I mean, the perception of local brand by local consumer in terms of price and the quality and relative to the import cars.
They well, the local consumers' preference still remains for international brands like Toyota, Nissan, Honda. But where these local brands have been able to make an inroad is in government and institutional sales. I believe a lot of state governments and government entities like defense and other institutions have supported them. So that seems to be working well for them. They are able to sell large numbers to these fleet buyers.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle.
Yeah. But consumers still prefer, the strong international brands, the popular ones like Toyota, Nissan, Honda. I would say these three are the top,
Yes,
followed by Kia, which is quite strong.
that's common in the Asia as well. Asian consumer prefer to buy German or Japanese brand. They recently started buying the Korean brand, including Hyundai and Kia. But in the second-hand market, German or the Japanese brands are doing better job than most of other brands in local market. My last question. I understand Car45 was recently acquired by the OLX Group from the Frontier Car Group. And is there any important change of strategy in the product expansion and geographic expansion? So, for example, for the organic growth to the inorganic growth, including the M&A and joint venture to leverage growth in the expand and product and the geographic market.
So we've been acquired now through FCG by OLX, which is a very large global player in the classified space. So in terms of change of strategy, they would like to grow very fast on the technology side. We are a full stack transaction business. So we've seen a lot of emphasis on classifieds, on marketplace, on automation, which is in line with what we've always tried to do. But the presence of the new shareholders definitely accelerated that for us.
Thank you very much, Sunny, for the taking time, sharing the interesting story and ambitious vision of Car45 and how you disrupt the market in the Africa. I really enjoyed having conversation with you today, and they're looking forward to another chance to get an updated story of Car45 soon.
You're most welcome, David. It's a pleasure speaking to you. Please let me know if you have further questions anytime. We'll be happy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, share with your friends, and drop me a review. Goodbye.